Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so humbled and delighted today to have our respected industry veteran on the show. Someone who began working at the age of 16 in 1956 before going to USA, whose organization was formed in 1945, yes, the year of independence, and who has served our industry for more than 64 years. The one and only Shri Nirmal Bhai Thakkar, Chairman TIPCO Industries, one of the few octogenarians we have the honor of speaking to. I thank you for giving us your time today, sir, and I truly believe that your guidance and words of wisdom will be so much important and valuable to our entire industry at this very difficult time. We warmly welcome you, sir, to the show Insights with Nidhi Verma.
Thank you, Nidhi.
Sir, you have seen the evolution of the plastic industry for the past 7 decades. You have been a part of the progress and the transformation that industry has gone through. How do you see the future of the plastic industry from here going forward with the impact of the pandemic taken into consideration? What are the points that you think industry should focus on and build on going forward?
Well, Nidhi, plastics industry future, we always had faith, even when there was no plastics material around. That shows our confidence in the material and the technology and what it can bring on the table for a common man. Plastics material itself is so versatile that you can't even think of the world without plastics material. It's a matter of a little bit of regret that the policymakers were a little slow in grasping that situation, and hence, if you allow me, I come from the old school where we were waiting for 1 million ton to be crossed for many years, and year after year we used to hope that the country will cross 1 million ton. I'm not going to blame anyone for that, but truly speaking, if there was some form of vision with the policymakers 6 decades ago, that they would not have been trapped into the bogey of small scale versus the organized scale, or import versus make it in India, where they didn't have much faith in the Indian markets and Indian people. And there were prophets of doom who lacked the vision at that time, asking us where are the markets, where is the demand, and add to that, adding like an insult and injury, that very high import duty, very high excise duty. At times it was as high as 54%, very high cost of capital, and the type of labor law. With all this bundled together were great impediments, but still, I give a lot of credit to the plastics people. Like a small family at that time, working together, shoulder to shoulder. They were marching forward, a slow march, but I would say that the plastics industry come a long way, overcoming all those hurdles, Pandemic is a different situation that the whole world today is going through that. But I have tremendous faith in the plastics people to start with, plastics material, that it is so relevant for this whole world, not only India, whole world. And I feel that अपना time आया है. अपना means plastics material का time आया है.
बिल्कुल sir. So we need plastics.
To fight the pandemic, you need plastics material, and to revive this economy back to its original status, plastics count. Plastics is extremely relevant in virtually every segment.
Totally agree with you, sir.
Yeah.
So you have seen so many moons behind you. Which are the areas that you think that we, as a plastic industry, made errors and we still have not made amends?
I just now listed out that we were sufferers indeed from the policymakers. That's one part where we just could not help, because the government did not have any, the plastics material and the plastics material was not in the radar of the policymakers, because they were more interested in the heavy industry, employment generation, and steel industry and all that. But they did not realize that the world had already entered into the era of plastics, the material of choice, that they realized a little late. They didn't realize that if plastics was not around, suppose there was no plastics, all these plastics batches I tell them, suppose there was no plastics, then can you imagine that if there was no polyester and there is no nylon, there is no Dacron, that all people were required to be only clothed with cotton, then the entire cultivable land of this earth would have gone only and only to grow cotton, and there would not have been food. You could not have produced food for the human beings. Same goes for the wool industry, that the acrylics and the other material came. So plastic started, in fact, saving all our very scarce natural resources at virtually at every level. And unfortunately, the policymakers were not realizing it. All right, this is one part. Second part is that because of those, the division of small scale, we could not achieve the real world scale operations. Polyethylene plant in Baroda, when they were planning and when they wrote down 10 to 15,000 tons, they were questioning that where is the market. Okay, they were questioning where is the market. At that time, there were massive world scale plants were being installed world over, Now, so it was a sort of a learning curve. It was a very slow learning curve. And then this the small scale versus the organized scale, that also has hurt the plastics people themselves. That there were camps. There's a small scale camp. There's the medium scale camp. There were not too many large scales. The large scale was government, and that resulted into the curtailment of investment and the new technology. And government was doing their best to make sure that there's no freedom of technology import, there's no freedom of movement. And just as the other day I heard J.R.D. Tata, out of all people, he says that when I wanted to go to Europe, I was spending more time at the doorsteps of Reserve Bank than for the work that I was going. And for us, the plastics people, why I fell into love with this the exhibition segment, that for us, the knowledge-hungry Indians, when we were going to, for example, K or English exhibition, I do not know whether they have it now, or NP in America.
Yes, sir.
For us, it was like a Mecca. It was like a supermarket, and we were all like a beggars going from, sorry to use that word, from place to place to place to place. And we were being sometimes not respected or not welcome. At times I have gone through the humiliation, but still we kept on going there for the knowledge, because that was the only source of knowledge about the machineries, the processing technology, the new products, the product innovation. And I think that it was not only me, all my friends were doing the same thing, and we would meet all in K, and then in the evening, sort of exchange and express our anguish. Well, when will this happen in India? That you want a machine, and you can lift the phone and you can order that plant, that technology, that machine. It has happened now.
No.
So I think all those impediments have gone now. We have now a different type of policymakers, their vision. Of course, still, there's one thing that plastics industry has not done the way they should have done, that we have not projected the image of the plastics material in the consuming sector. And I've been telling this when I was active in Plast India at that time, that you have to go to the schools, catch them young. You have to go to the mothers, the young mothers, and tell them that why plastics is relevant for your safety, for your security, for your health. And hence, there have been motivated forces like, I don't want to name them, but some of those um, forces that who keep on beating this issue that plastics it pollutes and plastics is bad. No, plastics is something which is like a lifeline of this of the humanity.
Beautiful. So very rightly emphasized. Sir, our Indian plastic industry is not able to compete in the world market. We've had Mr. Rajkumar Lohia ji, Mahendra Bhai, Mudit Jain in our series, in my series, this video shows. They have brought out different parameters clearly with timelines and examples to give us a wake up call. Where are we lagging behind specifically, sir? And what is the guidance that you will give us so that we can, Indian industry, plastic industry, can go out and conquer the world and beat the competition?
A few things are in the hands of government, and the rest is obviously that plastic tough guys have been always risk takers and winners, I would say. One is that the cost of capital is still high in this country. Cost of capital is high in the country, and the labor laws are still not very conducive. The scale in China is phenomenally high. Obviously, they do not worry about labor laws. There are no labor laws. In a communist country, there are no labor laws. Labor is totally unprotected. Over here, if you are going for a massive scale of operation, obviously you want a technology to give some benefits. I know it sounds bad. It sounds a little bit anti community that you're going to reduce some people, but I'm sure that will force them to acquire more skills and find some job somewhere else, you know. So there have not been many incentives for people to go for a massive scale because of the cost of capital, infrastructure costs are also very high. There are government impediments of life of mind. It's much reduced now, obviously, but otherwise to set up a unit somewhere, 200 acres land with a lot of capital investment and a lot of newer technology. I mean, people are taking risk, but at the same time, they should be also looked very favorably by the policymakers. I think time will change, and they will realize that plastics is relevant. That is what I think plastics industry's biggest failure is, getting this message across the policymakers, that plastics is not polluting. No, plastics in fact is providing you protection. Plastics is saving your energy. Plastics is saving, and in agriculture, your agriculture crop yield would not have been increased without plastics. The drip irrigation, water harvesting, resource conservation. What about packaging? How packaging has changed, the sea change, that you are getting a product which is adulteration free, the right weight, the shelf life is longer, and people are, the policymakers, unfortunately, are being swayed by those certain agencies. Yes. who have their own game plan, that they forget that plastics is not that pouch which is littering on the road. Correct. And this bashing one time usage of plastics, it has to come back now, because in this pandemic, who is going to protect people? The one-time application of the plastics. That's no longer. You have a bottle that you drink water one time, and obviously you throw it away. This way you are protecting yourself, you are protecting others also. So I think in the fight of pandemic, plastics is going to play a tremendous role.
And I think, sir, we should be taking you only along with us to the policymakers. I think when they hear you giving citing examples of the past, they would probably make much more valuable decisions which can help the growth of the industry.
And we have failed, and I'm sure we'll not fail repetitively, that when you use plastic material, you are stopping your deforestation.
Correct.
You don't cut the trees. Where in the world, in 1.5 minutes, you have a fantastic 2 kilos of plastic chair, which lasts very long. If it breaks, you can remold it.
Correct.
And if you want to make a same chair, a 2 kilos chair, in a wooden material, you would be using at least 30 kilos equivalent of wood that you will cut a tree, you'll destroy a tree, and life is not as long.
Absolutely.
And it takes a long time to make it. And all these sort of things when you talk about, and what about the role of plastics in the healthcare and the hygiene? It's tremendous.
Absolutely.
And the aerospace and auto sector, there's not a single field that plastics has not contributed in a very, very convincing, in a very competitive manner.
Totally, couldn't agree more, sir. Sir, I can't help getting emotional when I bring forth the point that Plast India was created with your initiative, and you were the originator of this legacy of plastic associations and exhibitions in India. The head office, as I understood, of Plast India was from your office from 86 to 90. Your vision was to have India as the leading plastic exhibition of the world. However, we have ceded the ground to China. K, of course, was your dream. What are the actions that we need to take now so that we can rightfully reclaim or get our place in the sun?
This has, Nidhi, this has been an age-old problem. Too many associations. In the beginning, there was one. In the beginning, there was one AIPMA. And then from thereafter, all the offshoots started. Some of them, I won't call them offshoots, like OPPI is a very strong association. But again, all the OPPI members were once upon a time very vibrant, creative members of All India Plastics Manufacturers Association. And when I was asked to start, organize a international plastic exhibition by AIPMA, I put this thought forward, and I said that AIPMA alone can't do it. We must bring all the other people in our fold. And then how the process started, that first came in OPPI, and then Calcutta, and then Gujarat, and then we were short. We wanted to form an association, so we needed 7 people, foundation, we needed 7 people. So we brought in CIPET, and then Gujarat and Calcutta. And that experiment has worked tremendously well. You know why? Because it's not because of Nirmal Thakkar that it succeeded. No, no, no. My role was just a facilitator. We had wonderful, wonderful people like Dr. Duldoya, Shah Sahib, Hasmukh Bhai from IPCL, Mofat Lalji, and Dr. Duldoya, and G.R. Shah from CIPET, and Thapariaji then joined, and so Vaman Bhai. So all these people came together with a spirit of giving and not getting anything.
Correct.
How can I contribute to my plastics industry, our plastics industry?
Our plastic industry.
Yeah.
It is so,
and we succeeded. We succeeded in creating one platform where we could work together with divergent views, and we can work together for a common purpose, common objective. This was a fantastic success. I don't know what has happened thereafter, but because some of the regional associations saw, and they saw only as a money-making proposal. And they said that why not me too? And so you have Calcutta, you have Gujarat, and you have down south, etc., etc. Well, this has been our perennial problem. We are a democracy. You can't help it. in my own family, my grandsons, I don't think that everybody would want to come into plastics. One guy is going to be an architect, and I can see he's a brilliant architect. Other fellow says the younger three, the millennial guys, they are in a different galaxy. So yeah, yes, a couple of guys will come with full dedication. So what has happened in the plastics industry that we are still too fragmented. All we should have is one exhibition. All we should have is one association. You have one technical association, Indian Plastics Institute. You have separate for teaching. You can have Flax Council perhaps for export incentives and issues. But as far as the representation of the industry is concerned, we need only one. I'm not advocating which one, because I was associated with AIPMA or PPI, but that doesn't mean anything. And I do not know when will this happen, that they all come together and say, we don't want to run our regional, we want one strong association. People forget that this will have a tremendous impact vis-a-vis the policymakers.
Absolutely, sir.
And if there's only one exhibition by Plast India, I have no doubt that it can be number one or number two again. We were number two almost. After K, Plast India was branded as number two. And that was a place to be seen. And people were coming there. But again, it happens as it has happened in many other segments, that there is a fragmentation.
So but
again, I tell you, I have not lost faith in the plastics people. Because I find plastics people are so resilient, so resourceful, that eventually some of them will realize, like those who are very active, like Taparia ji and all others, that I'm sure that people surely should rally around someone as active as him and bring them together once again.
So this message, I hope that it is going to ignite that spark where people start talking on those lines that you've said, which will benefit our industry to huge levels, sir. We will all become one. I totally agree with you. And myself, I want to see that happen. Sir, a lot of industries in our sector have got very badly affected because of the pandemic. What should the association's role be in this time to help them tide over the current crisis?
Frankly speaking, I don't know. I mean, honest answer is that what association's role can play, I don't know. Because association has only played a role always vis-a-vis the government. That is, the import duty is high or the excise duty, etc., etc. Otherwise, industry has always been self-reliant. Because people are very industrious. I have tremendous respect for our business community, that industry have learned for many years to fight their battles with one hand tied behind them and with a wooden sword, and they've been winning the battles. So I am pretty confident that now, look, number one, we do not know when the vaccine will come. Until and unless the vaccine comes, the fear of going out without any tension, without any stress, that will be with everyone in the whole world.
Correct.
Not India. It's more so now in America.
Yeah.
And China, let's not talk about that. Because okay. So, and we do not know when this vaccine will come. Till then, that I would call that phase one. In phase one, people will move cautiously. I've been told by my son Achal that they are totally focused. They have already, even with all the constraints, they say they've already achieved 60%.
Yes.
They are very confident that they'll be back to normal by December, January. But that is fine. But we need to see that their customers, their suppliers are also in the same direction, same speed, same boat. That will happen. But the point is that period till the vaccine comes on the scene, things might look sluggish, but that doesn't mean anything. Because in a lifespan, 1 or 2 years means nothing. I know that the vulnerables will have a greater beating, uh, the stronger will have a lesser problem of survival, the big boys will go through that. But this is a time for the business community to also think over. This gives them a quality time. There's no pressure of a meeting that I have to run somewhere, or my material I have not supplied, overtime nahi hai, ye, workers nahi. So this is a time that they can think, they should start thinking that whatever we've been doing so far, can we improve it?
Correct.
Can we reduce our cost? Can we make it better? Can we make it more versatile? Can I do something for my packaging? Can I do something for my transportation? Can I do something of a better contact with my customers? And people will start concentrating. They'll be more customer focused because of their survival depends on their customer. And today they have all the time in the world to put those dynamics, make a nice model for each one that suits them, that they know exactly that if I have given you a material, are you satisfied with it? Do you have some issues? Do you have some problems? Do you want me to improve? Where can I improve? Can I improve in my color? Can I improve in my packaging? So this is the time that don't see that what can I do? I have nothing to do. It's like that shoe fellow, no? That the two salesmen go, one salesman says, I'm coming back. Nobody wears the shoes.
Yes.
Other fellow says, my God, what an opportunity. Send me all the samples.
Yes. Exactly.
So that you need to be, look, this is the time where you need to be very optimistic, not falsely, not in a phony way, but have a self-belief that I'm going to go through this. Yes, I might pay a price. Surely I'll pay a price. But when I come back, I'll be sort of a renewed person. I know now what I had enough time to even evaluate what mistakes I'd made so far in my purchase, in my packing, in my storage, in my processing, in my waste reduction. I was not paying attention to all those. I taken all my variable costs for granted. Now he will think about each and every one, start listing it out. Where can I save? How can I satisfy my customers more, better? How can I improve? And that is what will happen.
Sir, you've said it so nicely. When I'm applying it to my own company, I've been like on a treadmill for the last 11 years. One conference, second conference, third conference. Now is the time when we had to postpone our conferences, when we sat back and re-looked at everything, that what we have been doing, we could improve so much more better with the productivity. So I think that what your guidance is to all the organizations where they should utilize, and they must be also doing it.
Correct. Look at your...
Not having a pessimistic view.
Pardon?
I said, and not having a pessimistic view.
No, I'm not pessimistic.
The glass full half.
I would say the glass is full. It's an optical illusion that we think it's half.
This is what I say, sir. The words of wisdom, Nirmal Bhai. This is what I was looking forward for. How beautiful is it? The glass is full.
Nidhi, I come from a school. Where we had to run to Delhi so often from when I was president of AIPMA. So do you know that there's only one flight of Indian Airlines goes in the morning, comes back in the evening. Only one flight.
Oh.
And when we'll get our ticket, they will tell us, wait list 126. And we say, oh, it's a fantastic chance. And we would go to the airport and stand in the queue with anticipation. And I tell you, most of the time, 126 waitlist guys would go to Delhi for the whole day. When he comes back at the Delhi airport, waitlist charge number 89, and still he would come back. So we come from that. We are from that school. We are from that waitlist school. And today there are 60, 70, 80 flights. World has changed. Now and secondly, I have a lot of respect for the younger generation. My God, I tell you, my sons are far more confident and capable and result oriented than I was. And I find their children, they are in a different galaxy. I think they could do anything and change the world, change the environments, and they can do it successfully. Purely because Nidhi, I find that my next generation is far more sincere, far more technology driven, far more fairer in their thinking. And I think that those value systems are really paying. And especially in my family, my father has imbibed those values in us. And I'm pretty sure that almost all the families that I've come across in the plastics industry, we share the same values.
Absolutely, sir. So I really sometimes, I am repeating it, probably I've said it earlier, that I feel so blessed to be in this industry where we have patriarchs like you and so many others who have led through their value systems throughout the generations, and they still are going strong. Sir, your family has remained committed to plastics. I think this is going to be the fourth generation. Few of your grandsons are coming back from Boston and New York, Achal told me. And they'll be joining you in a matter of few weeks. What has been the motivation in the Thakkar clan to continue with plastics? What are the principles and values that you mentioned that you have held strong for the generations to abide by?
Yeah, see, we have seen, my sons and myself, we have seen like a ringside view of what my father has done. My father came from a very, very poor strata of a village. He had to borrow funds for education and all that. And and he was brilliant all throughout. He was one of those rare 19 diamonds of Bombay University, where in the 90 years, they had 19 diamonds. He was one of them. Very brilliant guy. And when he was doing his PhD, wartime, the Grindwell Norton, the grinding wheels manufacturer, and Faraday, the brake lining manufacturers, the British companies, they could not bring phenolic resin, and they were worried. So they were searching that who can make phenolic resin in this country. So they go to Royal Institute of Science and they ask the head of the department that who can make this product for us, develop product for us. And without hesitation, the top man said that there are only two guys working in my department, and I'll take them to you. I'll take you to them. You decide which one is suitable. The first guy refused, and you know who he was? Homi Setna. Homi Setna, the Atomic Energy Commission chairman. He became later on.
Yes.
He was my father's partner.
Really?
Yeah. They were working together. The same lab. They're sharing the lab. And then Parsis, naturally, they're Parsis. The Grindwell Norton and the investors were Indian component part was Parsis. And they went to Homi first. And Homi said, my God, you have nothing. You don't have reaction vessels. You don't have measuring devices. You don't have vacuums. You don't have nothing. And you want me to develop phenolic resin? You must be out of your mind. And finally he said, but this is a Bania, my friend. Talk to him. And at the age of 23, the Bania says, yes, I'm interested.
Really? Mr. Kim Thakkarji.
Yes, my father. And he says, he told the head of the department that I am no longer interested in pursuing my PhD. I have an opportunity and I want to grab that opportunity.
Yeah.
And the guy starts working with phenolic resin without reaction vessel, without vacuum pump, without measuring devices, without condensers, in a place called Ray Road. There's an explosion at night. He's arrested because British time, wartime, the Britishers thought that some Germans have come into the bomb blast.
Oh my God.
And the rest
at the age of 23.
Yes,
Right.
and the rest is history. And then we have seen that he created from nothing.
Yeah.
And he was a brilliant, brilliant technologist all throughout. And we have seen that. Uh, and he said to me that, son, we are knowledge workers. We are
Knowledge.
not traditional banyas, business people, byaj ke paisa diya. We have a lot of big bank balance. And he says that work with a passion. And he had a passion for the innovation that he gave it to me. I gave it to my son. And now the rest, it is up to the fourth generation.
Yes.
I'm sure some will come. Some of them will definitely come in TIPCO. And my father had a very strong value system with virtually every aspect. And that is why at the age of 48, he retired and he left everything to me. And he went to Agra in a religious institute and spent rest of his life there. And since the last almost 12 to 14 years, I have done the same thing. That I've handed over the entire. Achal is the flag bearer now. He's doing a fantastic job. So is my two sons, Seetal and Prakash. And that unity value system installed by my father. I see that similar one in many plastics family.
That is what I was saying. Yes, yes. I am also
and that's a big thing.
It's
a
very
big thing.
I think that is the pillar of our industry, sir. All these, the values that have come through the generations. That has very strong pillars. I totally agree with you. And actually, I'm thinking that I'm going through a history lesson of our plastic industry with the best teacher taking us through, sir.
I don't know.
This is such a treasure. No, I am saying that, sir, on your face. Sir, you just mentioned that, yourself, you've been to the US, and then Achal, Seetal, Prakash, and now, of course, the fourth generation, Anand and Abhishek. All of them have taken their education in America. Do you think there is a lack of good educational practical systems in India?
Our problem is our education system is not the technological institution, I would say. Our IIM and IITs are fantastic. And it's very tough to get into that. Our problem is with our school education. It is the school education that does not prepare you in a practical, solid manner that it should. And that is why all of us who go to America, we find sort of a fish out of water sometimes, because our basic knowledge is not there, it's not solid. And also it is more bookish. We are not exposed much to the practicality of the education. So to that extent, yes, I would say. And this is one area that unless and until something is done with the basic education, that it has been still century-old bookish knowledge that the Britishers had at the syllabus that they had settled for India, we are still continuing with the same thing. And I think that something has to happen, and I'm pretty sure it will happen. I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
I feel this pandemic is going to be a game changer. Because time that everyone will be thinking, what were we doing? Why were we doing? How much did it help us? How much did it hurt? Now let's talk about something. Let's create a new dynamic India.
Correct. Yes.
And they will do it.
Yes, it's kind of pressed the reset button, and everyone has reflected through every aspect on business as well as personally, so that whenever this pandemic ends and the vaccine is over.
Absolutely. You can't do more of the same thing that you were doing earlier.
Absolutely, sir. Yes.
No longer valid.
How beautifully put. Sir, with your unparalleled rich experience that you've had, you've actually been the originator of our industry, one of them. What is your final guidance and motivation that you would like to leave our viewers with? Because a lot of them are facing a lot of issues because of the lockdown, loss of sales, manpower, cash flow issues. Some of them have a lot of pain points.
Patience pays. Have patience, have faith. Patience and faith, you can go through the all kinds of hurdles. I'm pretty sure that I can understand. I can I can feel their pain. I can see that. But we need to have patience. We need to have um, sort of a belief that yes, we will come out of this. The moment you have a belief down deep within, surely we will come out of this. The world has gone through this every century. Every century, the world has had a pandemic. They have come out. They have come out and they have come out stronger. And we will come out stronger. Thought time lagega. Let's pray for the. Let's pray together for the vaccine to appear. So, moment vaccine appears, these things will disappear.
Correct.
And then we will start recreating, rebuilding this nation once again.
Sir, I cannot tell you how blessed I'm feeling today and so happy internally that we had the chance to listen to you and you could give us your time. The words of wisdom with the experience that you've shared with us is going to give a lot of our industry people a ray of hope and the light to go forward, sir.
This my pleasure. It's
Grateful
my
to you.
pleasure. It's
Great.
my pleasure. And Lord bless you and Lord bless you all.
Thank
in
you
your
so much, sir.
organization.
Thank you so much. Your blessings, sir. Dhanyavad, sir. Thank you. Thank you.